Hey Gooners, this is Alan Smith.
This is Kevin Campbell.
Lee Dixon.
Colin Lewin.
It's Gary Lewin.
Charles Watts.
Dan Potts.
James Benge.
Danny.
Tom from the Gooner Talk here.
Ryan O'Cross.
Simon Collins. You may know me from the Evening Standard.
You may know me for my time at Arsenal.
You may know me from Arsenal or even the Hybrid Squad.
I'm a Birdcat Wonderland.
Being that physio sat on the bench next to Arsenal with my rubber gloves on.
The former Arsenal physio.
The Emirates press box, from writing, from Twitter.
From goal.com, from Twitter, from YouTube.
Football is the beautiful game and it brings us all together.
Sometimes there are things even more important than wins and losses.
And yes, even transfers.
Every 30 seconds, someone in this world gets diagnosed with blood cancer.
The Leukemia and Lymphoma Society works towards curing blood cancers
and provides support to families currently dealing with these diseases.
Gooners vs Cancer was started in 2017
by a lifelong Gooner who lost his father to leukemia way too young.
Since 2017, Gooners v Cancer has raised
$120,000 for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society.
And we need your help to keep the fundraising going in this year's campaign.
Every donation helps.
Every donation helps.
Every donation helps.
Every donation helps.
No matter the size.
And every donation enters you into the Gooner raffle,
where you have a great chance to win amazing Arsenal prizes,
including game tickets, stadium tours,
signed men and women's shirts,
and maybe a retro signed shirt by yours truly, Lee Dixon.
Me, yours truly.
Yours truly, Super Kev Campbell.
So much more.
It's easy to take part.
Just go to www.goonersvcancer.com
and donate directly to the charity.
Pick the raffle prizes you want to enter to win,
and wait for the drawings at the end of the campaign.
Again, that's www.goonersversuscancer.com.
We all know that victory grows out of harmony.
Victory grows out of harmony.
Victory grows out of harmony.
With your help, we'll be victorious against blood cancer once and for all.
Thank you for your support.
Thank you for your support.
Thank you for your support.
Thanks for your support.
Thanks for your support.
Thank you for your support.
I did want to say something, if it's cool with Mike. I'll probably get cut off. Oh, look, there's Aston. Yay.
And we got,
sorry,
one
I
more.
Thought I disappeared again.
No, you're
good.
Okay.
Say it while you can.
No, no, I'll wait for you. Someone else coming in.
Jared.
All right. So I thought, oh, Jared, look, a different tie on now. He's gone from Reservoir Dogs to Office Space.
Unlike me, he's actually changing from one day to the next.
And you know, the plain black was more my style, but it looked a little bit like I was trying to sell religion door to door. So got something with a little more razzle dazzle.
You do look like a Mormon.
Book of Mormon. Yeah, he looks like those guys at the beginning. Like Josh, what's
I can say that because I've people I know who are Mormons. I mean,
so you'll appreciate this. In the off chance we needed coverage for the hour that it was Highbury Squad or Super Kev was on, I have here a super colorful bow tie and was ready to go for Super Kev if the chance arose, but it wasn't needed this year, so maybe next time.
You should put it on anyway. Mormon Jared rules. Okay, so oh, look, I feel like there's 6 men ahead. Feels like 6 men on top. There we go. Thank you. All right. Now in the middle.
Yeah, let's do that. I think that makes a little bit more sense. It'll be like the Brady Bunch.
Okay. So I just wanted to say something because obviously we're here for a reason and we're raising money for an incredible cause. And this is definitely a disease that affects every family across all corners of the universe. And there's a reason why I'm in Cyprus. And I felt like, you know what, maybe this is the time to share something because I share everything with my listeners. Howard Stern taught me one time, if you don't share about your life, you can't be an authentic broadcaster. And I felt like I'm here and I'm talking to Mike and we're, raising money for cancer. And there's so many people who've reached out to me. So many people reach out to us on our shows. I know the same for Mike, Tom, Harry, Highbury Squad. We get so many letters, you guys, from so many people who are having a really hard time. And there's the beautiful side of broadcasting too, where there's the fun and there's all the excitement and all the great things that we get to do, go to games, like get together, have a drink, have a good time. And I thought it would be disingenuous if I didn't like share my story. And I know Mike won't probably mind me doing this, but I'm maybe doing this just kind of like for my own self, in the sense that I can in terms of what I'm feeling right now. So I just found out that my mum has cancer, and it's really tough. It's really hard. And I'm going through a really hard time right now. And I just wanted to share that. And I don't know why, but I just feel like if there's a time to share something like that, it's on this show at this hour after almost 27 hours. What Mike does, what he's done with this charity for people, for families, for the Arsenal community, for everybody. I think it's one of the best things that's happened to Arsenal podcasting, Gooners v Cancer. I believe that it brings people together in so many different great ways. And it's hard and it's tough, but yet through it all, we've had some laughs and we can come together. And one of the coolest things about being part of the Arsenal podcasting community is this. And I just wanted to say, Mike, thank you. Thank you for being a great friend. Thank you.
Thank you. I mean, I
just like when you said that you met Wenger, you just wanted to say thank you. I just want to say thank you.
So you don't want to yell at me for not signing Riyad Mahrez?
No.
You know, when Mike came to me when we started the pod and said, hey, oh God, Sophie, now you got me. He asked me to do this, not knowing that one of my best friends had to go through 10 months of chemo for this disease and survived it. And Mike, I say it every year, the last 10 minutes, like, you're a legend for doing this. Yeah, I echo Soph. Thank you.
Well, and I'm putting on my dad's army jacket. I wore it for the first 5 or 10 minutes of the podcast, and you know, part of me is just putting it on because I can, and I haven't been able to say that for about 15, 20 years. But you know, I actually, just like you are physically in the middle of a bunch of representations of us, and that's symbolic for how we are all basically in a group hug with you at the center of it. When I put this on, I feel like my dad's hugging me again, because it's tight, frankly, on me still. My dad was like rail thin when he was in the army, and but I mean, I don't think we can keep up this level of emotion for the next hour.
Someone crack a joke.
But
come on.
We really, I mean, you know, people say this. I, you know, every time we get off the podcast at the end, after the, you know, with Andy and with Jared and Mikey and Eoin and Aston, you know, I always say I love you when we're, you know, love you, because, you know, I love you guys. I mean, you're my friends. I love you. It's cool. I love you, Sophie. I mean, I care about you. I care about your well-being. I care about the well-being of people who care about you and who you care about. Whether it's Tony, whether it's Demian, whether it's you know, your mother, your father. And you know, when you called me the other day,
her dogs,
and told me what was going on, I you know, I tried to hold it together, because I mean, you need and deserve all the support in the world, but I mean, you've had quite the year, and I'm glad that you're there for your parents, but let yourself be weak. Let yourself be affected by this. You don't have to be the person who keeps your dad from, you know, losing it, because you need to be able to experience this yourself. But you have so much support. You have the 6 of us. You have my wife, who's standing right here. You have everybody who loves you and cares about you. And and by that, we love and care about your mom. And what you've told me about your mom and how much of a fighter she is, and how she's taking this news, is inspiring. I mean, if you don't know Sophie's, I mean, if you know Sophie, you can imagine what her mom is like. she's not going to take this. She's not going to deal with it. She's not going to roll over. And I'm inspired by it. And I hope that you will keep us posted on how she's doing. And we're all praying for you and thinking about you and your family.
I appreciate that. And I just feel like it just felt right that after all these hours that we've all been talking, just to kind of like bring it back to really what it's about.
Yeah.
And how every single one of us has been affected by this disease. And it's been a really rough year. Yeah. I mean, Tony's not out of the woods. My 2 favorite girls in the world.
Mm.
And you just keep going, you just keep going because you got to just keep on. And I just want to say, like, my listeners, the Highbury squad, the squaddies, Kev, you guys, my friends, I mean, this is what keeps you going. That's what life's about. And I just wanted people to know that they're not alone. They're really not alone. There's a lot of us that are going through stuff, and it may seem like everything's rosy on the outside, but I think we all know that that's not always the case. And I just wanted to share that with everyone. And, Mike, just, I hope that we get to do this every year for many, many years, because we're going to need to.
I plan on it. And my hope is that we continue to do this until we don't need to anymore.
Well, except for next year when it's Gooners versus Shellfish. Next year will be the one year that we do the pass on it. But so if you know you're loved and supported, and everyone should know in our chat group, Mike and I, for a long time, I think during COVID, we were sick of talking over the same thing. Hey, Steph.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. How are
There's
you?
my girl.
Go on, Steph.
This is
That's the real hero right there, having to put
There
up
she
with Mike
is.
24/7.
Literally has to live with him.
Like,
literally. Can you imagine?
The definition of a better half.
Yes.
Mike, you need to send me your address. I'm going to send your wife a medal.
Let's send her some Let's send her some coins.
She needs
Everything
all
will be
of
better
it.
when she gets her Venice coin. But no, she's been standing at the door listening to the last 5-10 minutes or so, and I think she's getting a little choked up as well. I mean, look, this is what this show is about. This is what this community is about, and doing podcasts after starting in 2016. I mean, it slowly became kind of an obsession for me, and it dug me deeper and deeper into the whole Arsenal universe. And look, there are times where I've been too involved in it, and it has taken me away from the things that that are responsible to me, my family, my wife, my kids, because I get kind of addicted to, frankly, the attention and the access and the bucket list things that I'm able to check off. But I mean, overall, on balance, I wouldn't have any of you. I wouldn't have any of the things that my family gets to be involved in. I mean, I think it's a net positive, right? I mean,
Agreed.
yeah. I mean, and
let her answer, man. Let her answer for
Yeah.
herself.
Blink twice.
Yeah,
if you're
blink
not
twice.
safe.
Off camera, strategically, so we don't see her. Oh, there she is. Okay.
Agreed.
Blink 3 times if he's in a
Let's
diaper.
give.
You're not wearing a diaper.
no, I am not wearing a diaper. I'm wearing 2 diapers. No.
Hey, listen, I just kind of wanted to mention, because you guys know the type of work that I do outside of the podcast in my real life, and there's a
Not everybody does. We do, but not everybody in the chat.
Tell everyone
I don't know, but
I'm an activist. I do a lot of community work. I work on, for example, I work on the cases of people that were murdered by the police. I just did the case of Derek Diaz just a few weeks ago. So, but I wanted to come around to this concept that I think that we were hitting on earlier when I was talking with Andrew, and it was when I was saying that, we kind of came together and started really bonding because of the banter years, and we all needed therapy. Well, that's a true thing. There is therapy in community. It's compassion focused therapy. It's a therapy that we often don't get from our workplace or our schools or all the hostile areas that we have to go. And what we've found here, and I think that's what we're all kind of talking about, is that within this community, there is healing being together. There is healing all being on the same side. There is healing in being this big family, and we can all see how much it means to each other and how much it touches all of us. And that's why it's important that we keep doing these things. You know, we can't do these things, and I know this is going to sound like a cheesy plug for likes, but unless you guys continue to come to our communities and enjoy this stuff with us and be along for the ride with us. I mean, Soph just shared one of her most vulnerable moments in her life with you. What does that say about how much you mean to her?
Well said. Brilliant.
I was going to say right before Steph rudely interrupted us that, you know,
hey, Jared, was Andy talking? I forgot. The other day, a Jew, a Greek, and a black guy started a podcast.
during the COVID stint, it was tough to talk about Arsenal, and we heard someone made a comment like, it's great to hear you guys during this tough time. And I think for a lot of us, you just kind of take it for granted that we are some people's outlets to forget about whatever's happening in their lives, whether it be their family fighting against cancer, they don't have enough money to put food on the table. Like, we do take it for granted that sometimes we are their exit and we are their outlet to just release. And, you know, it doesn't mean that our DMs aren't open for people to say like, hey, I'm struggling. You know, I want to talk. You know, it's important for all of us. And so, Soph, we love you and we're here to support you. And hopefully you're back in LA in a few weeks because I'm going to be there and I want to see your face.
I love you guys too. Mike, do we have anything else to give away? Let's give away some shit. Let's do it.
Well, we did the kitchen sink.
We do, and we actually didn't do the hour 26 giveaway, so let's do that right now. It is a
Mike, did I win any of the prizes? Just I
thought that's why we were here.
I might not know. I might have won. I'm not sure.
You won the prize for funniest voice note.
Oh, I'll take that, man. Even Peter Drury's voice, man. I love that guy, man.
Yeah. While I'm getting the randomizer ready, first of all, your accent just makes me laugh. It makes me smile. It makes me laugh. And this was, this was what Peter Drury heard. I know I just played it 20 minutes ago, but it feels like about 3 hours ago.
I send you a beautiful voice note from
Oh wait, hold on.
Go on, let's hear it.
The beginning is the best.
Mate.
What the hell? Oh, here we go.
You got it.
Yo, yeah, man. Proud to be part of that, man. 100%. And Mike, can you officially tell Peter Drury that I'm actually in love with him? I love him. He's the best thing since sliced bread in terms of commentating. So you pass that message on to him from me. But much love, man. Looking forward to coming on, man. Yes, Michael Feinberg, man. Before I send you a beautiful voice note from your brother from another mother, Albert JT.
He's calling his own voicemail a beautiful voicemail.
Mate, incredible lineup. I had to look twice. I said, bloody hell. Yeah, man, proud to be part of that, man, 100%. And Mike, can you officially tell Peter Drury that I'm actually in love with him? I love him. He's the best thing since sliced bread in terms of commentating. So you pass that.
Is there a difference between telling him that and officially telling him that? Like what's the
Actually, I don't think there is, Mike. I think
he heard it.
Actually, I didn't even know you were going to tell him, but I'm thankful for it. I'm thankful for it, honestly.
Let me give a quick update on the money raised so far before we give away the penultimate prize, and stay tuned. And if you want a chance at the team signed shirt, now would be the time because we're going to draw it in 45 minutes. Again, I've been breaking this into two categories. One is for this show, leading up to the show, to be in the show, and during the show. We have raised $13,112.24. We are, I believe, $200 away from doubling last year's total from the Podathon. So let's definitely try to do that. I don't know that we can get to 30,000 overall. We're at 28.4 for the entire summer, which includes the summer tour. I don't know if it's realistic to get to 30, but I think we can get to 28.6, which would essentially double our Podathon results from last year.
What do you guys need to make that last like 2,000 go audience? Like, what do we need to do? We'll do it. We're in the mood. We're all up. We're all feeling frisky. What do you need to see?
You gave it away too early. If you weren't watching, Aston has already taken off his shirt in front of John Champion and Jim.
Didn't he say if we got to 200,000, he'd do that?
Yeah, Norm. I mean,
was
ready. Easy, man.
It just took him 2 personalities on TV, and he's naked.
He didn't even do it for funds raised. He did it for pockets of space.
Yeah,
winning. That was what he did it for.
I'm a passionate man. I get into it. Listen, don't come at me for my art.
John Champion has fired his agent. John Champion has fired his agent and said, "What did I just do for an hour of my life?"
It was classic. That I love. Do you know what? I love seeing these commentators and stuff. I mean, it's just gold. John Champion is like sitting there thinking, "What the hell's going on here?" But it was just epic, wasn't it? Just such gold.
I will
the
say,
way Mike just ropes them into doing this stuff.
I will say so. I listened to the hour with Barton, and I've always kind of thought he was a little bougie, but actually hearing him off camera just talking with a friend.
Are you allowed to say bougie?
Yeah, you can say what's wrong with bougie?
Go ahead.
No,
Demian, is that okay? Bougie, is it okay?
I don't know. However,
bougie just means that you're kind of rich, right? You're like
Warren Barton wears the best suits there are.
Yeah.
So I love the guy's suits. They're the best. They're the
hearing him just with a friend and not being, it was really, really nice. Thank you for that. That was fantastic.
Yeah, I mean,
nice.
And
you know what? I love. Sorry, I think there's a delay. No. I was just going to say this is why I love like the shows like inside the dressing room when the players it's so organic. That was so organic. Like Mike, they just went at it. It's just beautiful, isn't it? Like it's great. I loved it.
And at that point in the pod, I was happy to just be a fly on the wall, letting them riff.
Me too.
I mean, it's like
it
really is like I mean. Demian, I mean, it's like like inviting a couple of great musicians on your show and just letting them go. Like what did I have to add to that? I had a little bit of a kind of steering the conversation through a chronological Howard Stern kind of thing, but
same budget as Howard Stern for sure.
Yes, exact same budget. Yeah. So, by the way, the winner of the final of about I think 5 or 6 wonderful pieces of Ruth Beck art. The winner is Denise van der Goot. Denise.
Well done, Denise.
Denise, yes.
That sounds like an Arsenal Women's Football Club player.
That's right.
But Denise, fantastic. Thank you so much for your donation. And we've got one prize left, and it's the biggie. It's the team signed the first team signed kit. But yeah, I mean, I'm going to get up for about 45 seconds for the usual reason. And then when we come back, let's do a little retrospective through the 27 hours, because I mean, honestly, when you mentioned earlier, Demian, about doing a podcast with Pedro, I'm like, oh yeah, I did a podcast with Pedro once. It was like hour 9 of this. And I felt like it was like weeks ago. And I'm like, oh yeah, I did that with him. It was a good experience. And it was hour 9. It wasn't even hour 1 or 2. It was hour 9 of this. And that's just how crazy it is. But we'll go back, we'll talk about it, and hopefully that'll take us through most of the last 30 or 40 minutes. But hopefully the 6 of you can find something to talk about for the next.
Let's just sit here in awkward silence until he gets back.
No, don't do that.
Everybody's bigging up Mike for the last 26 hours. Let's all go around and say the thing we dislike most about him.
His weight loss. I answered that really quick.
he's been holding that back for him.
Wow, yeah.
Wow.
In his head for a while, he's like, I cannot wait till he gains all that weight back. I cannot wait. How cool can you be?
Oh dear.
Oh, I blame that on the Tourette's.
The answer is clearly his kids. No, I'm taking that.
Something to dislike.
I don't think I know him long enough.
Like Mike. I mean, we all know that, but the sequel should have been Dislike Mike. I mean, why didn't they make that? I don't know.
Yeah, right.
We could put that on a T-shirt and sell it for charity.
Do you know what? I'll tell you something. I got one. Although I'm a Virgo, so he's such a perfectionist.
Oh my God, Soph.
Yeah.
Right?
I was
He's
going to
a
say the
diva.
amount of fucking spreadsheets he would used to send me. Like, hey, can you sign up for the podcast 6 months in advance? I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing tomorrow. I can't give you 6 months.
And then he has so many spreadsheets that he needs a spreadsheet to keep track of them because he doesn't know which version he's on ever.
I'm also in like 17 WhatsApp groups because of him, and he's started to go back into WhatsApp groups that were deleted like 2 years ago, and he's rebooting them.
Oh dear.
I love driving you mad. It's just the best possible thing. You get so angry.
You missed it, but we were going around saying things we didn't like about you.
Oh no, I didn't miss as much of it
To
as you
balance
did.
out, and I said it was the weight loss because I liked the jovial, fatter Mike because he hugged better. There was more cushion.
Am I not jovial
Cushion for the
anymore? I mean,
cushion?
am
No,
I an
you
ass
lost
now?
You're very jovial, Mike.
You lost the Jovi.
I'm Steven Jovitich. That's how jovial I am. So let's look back at the podcast. 'Cause, I mean, there have been some unbelievable things, some hours that I kind of thought might be a little slow and a little bit
Were
questionable.
those the ones
that
with
ended up-
hers on it?
I'm sorry?
Were those the one with Mike Herz on it?
Well, yeah, I mean, clearly.
Yeah.
You read between the lines of what I was trying to say, but I mean, again, unbelievable that it was this same stream. But Gab and Jules, that was a lifelong dream, or
that
a
was
podcast
great.
lifelong dream. And Sophie, I need to apologize to you because we talked about doing that show together, and
God. Stop it.
I mean, it's not a serious apology, but like I just wanted to make you aware that I am.
Wow.
There's something I dislike about Mike. His apologies are actually full of
Yeah,
shit.
it was supposed to be you, and he had to
saying
scrape
I don't-
the bottom of the barrel
I
to
just wanted
find
to
any
acknowledge that we had discussed kind of collaborating because I had the connections with Gab and and you had the better
At the
connections
time.
with Jules and
Jules, yeah. Don't worry about it.
but it was
That was a great segment.
I
It
think
was
it's pretty
fantastic,
low,
but-
Mike. I think it's pretty bad. I think you should have had Sophie.
Yeah.
That's my
I'm on your
point.
side, Sophie.
3
I'm
hours.
on your side. I'm on your side. Let's go.
Mike, I got to admit, when I saw that lineup and that spreadsheet, it was a very fine tooth combed spreadsheet. I had to look twice, but yeah, amazing job, Mike. Honestly, fantastic.
Well,
I thought Paul Pogba created the lineup with so much testosterone in it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so first hour. Then I mean, I learned a lesson from last year, Sophie, because last year I had to count on you to bail me out of literally having Clive lull me to sleep in like hour 18. I was already tired, and I told him I didn't want to tell him that because I thought it might ruin our friendship that we have, but no, he I mean, having him on an hour 2 along with FK, like the two really soft spoken kind of cuddly I mean that was a baller move, having them early on in the podcast when I was ready to go.
They should really be hosting like something. Do you remember that show back in the day, Love Line? Do you remember that show, Love Line?
Oh my God, yes.
With Adam Carolla and Dr. Drew.
Yeah. Here's a message for all you lovers out there in the dark. That's like Clive and FK. They should do like a love. They should reboot Love Line.
They can do like an Arsenal fall asleep to their voice, like like the Calm app where Matthew McConaughey like speaking you to sleep. Maybe they just do Arsenal you to sleep.
The lo-fi podcast.
Yeah. Imagine doing lullaby versions of Arsenal chants. Like,
Oh, that has to be a thing. I would.
oh
guess
my,
already.
Demian, can we record that to get? I mean, like,
As long as we don't do North London forever.
No, Demian
please.
is not. He's a musician. He's played with the best, and he hates it. Go on, tell him, Demian. Tell him.
I don't hate anything, and I just dislike that song a lot. I don't think it's good at all. But who am I to judge? What do I know?
I mean,
You're not the
what
only
do I
one.
know?
There are other Arsenal fans that have voiced their opinion about the
Yeah.
North London film.
I mean, don't get me wrong. If I wrote that song, and I'm watching, 60,000 people sing it, it's incredible. So I'm sure there's a little bit of jealousy or a lot of jealousy, but I'm not a songwriter, so I can never get there. But I just don't. I don't love the song.
You know why? It's because it feels manufactured. It didn't happen organically in the stands, created by fans. It was written by an artist. And
I mean, I wonder if when You Never Walk Alone first started, for example, or other songs, like what was the genesis of that? You know, what was
Celtic had that song way before Liverpool did.
Right, but so before them. So when Celtic started using it, or when they started singing it, like I wonder what the genesis was, what people were feeling, if people thought back then was weird or like we're just starting this song or whatever it was. So I'm not judgmental at all.
You'll Never Walk Alone.
Yeah, wasn't it like Rodgers and Hammond? Is it Hammerstein?
Yeah. Who's that guy that redid it? Oh God. It's just I haven't even had the hours Mike has had, but imagine a lullaby version of he's blonde, he's quick, his name's a porno flick, Emmanuel. I mean, not a lullaby for kids, but for us when we can't sleep.
That is my lullaby. That's
Jerry
not
and
what
the
you chant to yourself
Pacemakers.
before bed every
That's the
night.
one. That's the name. Is that them?
Arsenal lullaby.
Jerry and the Pacemakers redid it in the 60s.
Well,
that's it, Jerry and the Pacemaker.
I will say, I don't know if Lewis Dunford had that idea for a while or when that came to be, but the timing of its release, I think, couldn't have fallen more perfectly to have it catch on, because if you did it 2 years prior when the team's struggling, finishing 8th, I think people are just kind of over it. But for it to release when we're obviously on the uptick and things are really starting to come together with the club and the fans, I think it just sort of all came together perfectly for it to really catch on. So I'd be curious to know how long he's had that, or if it was something that he just, got inspired and wrote at the time. But it's obviously been a huge success for him, and now it's.
I assume he's an Arsenal supporter, right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's from Angel. I've heard him at games.
Yeah. By the way, Jared and Demian should just do a show together because their mics are off the hook. Like, just say something to each other for 20 seconds.
I think he found that.
Wow, I think I couldn't hear a single word he said. Am I frozen?
That's how good his mic is.
Wow.
Yeah. Did I just block his mic?
Yeah, you just jinxed it.
You just broke it.
It's so good, I turned it off.
He got mic fright.
It's almost like a magic mic in a sense.
It is.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I was just looking through the list. I mean, one of my favorite hours of the entire show was Frimmy. I was begging Kate to help me obtain Frimmy's services for an hour. I kept that 9 o'clock hour open for a reason. Fergus is like, and Trev's like, you're making me wake up at 7 a.m. when you have a 9 a.m. open. I'm like, there's a reason for that. And he came through, and she came through a couple days earlier. And I mean, having talked to him on the tour, I mean, I knew he would be gold. Yeah. And he absolutely was. I mean, that guy is one of the good ones. And it's nice to see good things happen to good people, but that was even more fun than I thought it would be. And watching Mike Herz deal with the advanced stat people. I mean, he's not an advanced stat guy, but watching him navigate the social intricacies of listening to Scott and Adam, who I find fascinating. I know Mike found it, interesting as well, but it was just funny when you're on record for kind of cracking jokes about stuff. And then, but I mean, that was good. I enjoyed that.
Mike, I love the Peter Drury, like Harry just looking at Peter Drury and then Peter Drury giving him advice. That was a gold moment.
If I'm really trying, I mean, I like to think in general, I do like to draw a lot of attention to myself, but I don't like to really praise myself. I just enjoy being in the center of attention. But when I had the opportunity to connect those two together as co-guests, I said, you know what, this is, I mean, this, I think I did him a favor.
That was great.
I think I created something that he enjoyed, and it was important to me to be able to do that because he deserves it. I mean, whether or not it ever leads to anything, whether or not they stay in touch or there's any kind of interaction, it was a moment in time where in his growing career, and I have no doubt he'll get to the levels where Peter Drury is, through his hard work. But I mean, those kinds of connections, I think, help. And there's not much I can do to help Harry's career. I mean, he is living, he's doing everything he set out to do. But if there's anything I could have done, I think that might have been it. And
That's brilliant.
And really, I enjoyed how much, how well that worked. And Harry, I think he enjoyed it. I think he
did, Mike. Trust me.
I had no idea. I mean, like when I played that audio, which Sophie provided to me, and then I kind of ran it through the series of things I have to do in order to get it onto the stream. I hadn't listened to it, so I didn't realize how excited he was about it. He's like, I can get a little bit more excited because of the whole London versus Manchester thing, and I'm like, no, you went full Tom Canton in the making faces in the press box thing, but in a verbal way. I mean, that was some good stuff though. But yeah,
Tom Canton bringing his army with him after his breakfast show was pretty freaking cool.
If you haven't done if you're not a podcaster, there's, on StreamYard, basically there's this little icon on the upper left-hand corner that tells you how many people are watching. And, look, we're not used to having 3 digits up there very often when we do a podcast. We are, thrilled to have, I won't even.
You sound like my podcast, Mike.
Yeah, look,
single digit club right here. Let's
we
go.
We podcast for the fun of it. We podcast basically as an open air banter session between us. We all have day jobs. We all have hobbies, and things that compete for our time. We're hobbyists. We're not full-time podcasters. And so anytime anyone says, and we don't do it on a regular basis at the same time every day or every second day every week. Mad respect for people who do, like Sophie. But, because of that, you get your hardcore base of people who are like, oh, wow, they're going on air. Let me turn this on. And, so we're happy with any numbers that we get. But I knew that Tom was basically doing his 8 a.m. show, then coming straight over to us. Thanks, Dan. Was coming straight over to us. And when he showed up backstage, I took a glance at the number, and it was at like 112. And 5 minutes later, it was 274. And he clearly gave an instruction, because all of a sudden, like sometimes with Sophie, when someone just starts spamming your
like the porn guys when they come into the chat. Yeah.
And it's just all of a sudden the chat starts rolling really quickly, and it's like it's all just bullshit. This was all different people saying I was bullied by TGT into coming here. Like he clearly said, go over there, put something in the chat to so that Mike knows that I brought you. And I'm like, trust me, I know that when our numbers go from 111 to 257 or 270, whatever it was, that it was you. But that's that's some control and influence over your listener base. And so props to Tom for doing that, and I appreciate it as well.
Yeah, that was very cool.
Yeah, and what else did we have? Oh, Aston coming up with a game for James and Andrew that that I think they enjoyed.
Yeah, it was fun. I think that I gave James confidence. I think that James walks away from this realizing that if it doesn't work out in podcasting, that he always has the fashion industry that he can always fall back on.
He's like a quadruple, quintuple threat. That guy. I mean, he's got comedy, he's got acting, he's got writing, he's got podcasting, he's got fashion. He's a 5-tool player.
I make jokes like we all laughs, but the reality is like he actually is a better dress than like all of us minus maybe Soph. You know what I mean? Like the dude does throw down.
Jared's in a goddamn tie.
He didn't go through all that effort.
I refuse to acknowledge Jared on this show.
Just because he's got a kick-ass microphone, Aston. Stop throwing shade, bro.
By the way,
you're just feeling bold because you're in Kai Havertz's crowd again. That's what this is.
God, no offense to Mike, Eoin.
Can we shout a little louder so Aston can hear us all the way up there, guys?
Yeah. No offense to Mikey, Andy, Aston, or myself, or offense to myself. Is Jared not like 85 times the podcaster that any of the rest of his people are on the Gooners pod? I mean, he had a transition earlier today that I had to go into our little group chat and mention. I mean, it was so cool. Just took something I said and I mean, not just like a segue, but like a masterful segue. and I was like, I'm so glad that we stole this guy out from under Tom, because Tom doesn't seem interested in growing his empire. He just wants members. He needs that weekly, that monthly check, and so we've just
maybe we'll take him.
I think Tom is doing just fine.
Yeah, he is.
Keep your hands off him, Sophie. He's ours.
Yeah. Hey,
Jared,
so
do you want to host the show on Highbury Squad?
I would never take your seat, but I'd love to come on with you anytime.
Why? I'm having guest hosts this season. Demian's going to host our women. Should we announce that, Demian? I think I did.
Do it.
Maybe.
You just did, but let's do it.
Tell him, Demian. Tell him, Demian. Tell him.
Well, Sophie just spread the news without my consent, but that's fine. That's okay. That's what true friends do. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Malaka. I'm kidding.
I know, I'm a malaka.
Yeah, so I am privileged enough to co-host and sometimes solo host. Not for long, because I'm hoping that Albert comes with me. I'll be taking over some of the women's shows for the Highbury squad, which is unbelievable. An honor to keep that seat warm for Sophie, and we'll have Albert, among other people, coming and talking and not exposing that I know absolutely nothing. And
no,
it'll be fun.
What are you saying?
It'll be a lot of fun. I'm privileged. I'm privileged to be a part of that. And I'll say something really quickly to Mike's point about all the different podcasts. I mean, the mini podcast within this massive podcast. I think it's important for fans to know that, like, all these people that are out there, that we have a platform. Or we try to have a platform. We're no more important than any of you. We don't know more about the club than any of you. We're not bigger fans than you are. Just know that there's a space in different kinds of people for everybody. Find the people that you like on here, support them, try to go to their channel, subscribe. A little comment won't hurt. A little, subscription, review, that's all lovely. And I love, like, obviously he's a close friend of mine. When Pete from Le Grove and Matt Candela came on, I loved how the pod turned into a mini Arsenal opinion. And then with other guests have been, like, every single hour has been completely different. And it's been unbelievable. And it's like a music festival where you have all these bands and then you're like, oh, I like them, I'm going to check them out. Or I like this band, or maybe I don't like this band way too much. But it's amazing to be part of this group and know so many people from so many different backgrounds. And all this to say that all of us, I speak for a lot of us, and all of us, I would say, we're here for you. If you have any Arsenal things that you want to talk about, and also any deep personal things like Sophie just shared, and to echo what Aston said, to share something so vulnerable and so open and so, important, it's so brave. And I thank you, Sophie, for doing that. And anybody that's going through a lot of stuff, you count on us, but reach out. Don't just know that you can do it. Actually do it. We will reply. We will be there for you. And it's all thanks to Mike. I just didn't want to forget to say that.
Well, that's all. I mean,
go on, Sid.
I appreciate that.
Go on, Demian. My guy, man.
Please. Please.
Look at all these wonderful humans here. Like, seriously, Mike always says it, right? Super Kev, since he was a kid, South London boy, Arsenal changed his life. And it's not necessarily that Arsenal's changed all of our lives. I just think it's enhanced our lives. It's brought us friends and love and all sorts of wonderful things. And this is the part about football that I think we tend to forget sometimes. We get so caught up in the emotion of it all, but we would never have met each other if we weren't Arsenal fans.
Arsenal absolutely changed my life. I mean, enhance, yes, but absolutely changed my life. I mean, I just think, obviously London changed my life. That whole experience wasn't just about Arsenal. It was about, a new outlook on life, the ability to, I was headed down the wrong path. I was frustrated at my parents' divorce, and I was committing vandalism in the neighborhood, acting out, sneaking out of the house in the middle of the night, at 13 or 14. Then all of a sudden, boom, we leave Virginia and we're in London, and I got a complete blank slate in a pretty cool location. Arsenal became a big part of that, but it didn't really rule my London experience until I came back to Arsenal in 2006, all those years later. And, and really in 2014, when I started discovering the social aspects of Arsenal. But that has changed my life. I mean, everything was good in 2014, but I mean, I have an enrichment from the people I know and the people I've met and the things I've gotten active in, and the ability for me to have multiple things to take my time and spend on, and not just be constant work, or, you know, it absolutely has changed my life. And, you know, it when people are so wrapped up about Kai fucking Havertz or about dropping a late, you're pointing the wrong direction. Yeah, there you go. You know, when all they can do, when all they think about when it comes to Arsenal is the result of the game and what they think about these players, and they can't enjoy it. I mean, you're missing all of this. And I get so angry at people that they're so like the sole thing that arbiters how they feel about Arsenal are things that they have no control over whatsoever. And you know, I'm like, I just feel sorry for them, because, you know, at times where the on the pitch stuff is hurting you emotionally and sportingly, I mean, that's when you need the community. And you know, and you know, to make fun of people because, oh yeah, Arsenal is just about the socials for you. You have no ambition. I mean, seriously, how pathetic is that? But I don't want to really, you know, nail people down for what they don't do. I just don't quite understand it because, you know, again, I have traveled to many different cities and found instant family. My daughter has just moved from Columbia, Missouri to 10 weeks in Phoenix, Arizona, to now starting a new career in Knoxville, Tennessee. And when she was in Phoenix, she went to the Gooner pub to meet some of my friends and others that were in Phoenix to watch the Arsenal Manchester United game, the summer tour. Last Sunday, she took it upon herself to go herself to the Knoxville pub where I had just been a week earlier, and watched with relative strangers that she had never met before, a couple that I introduced her to, and got to watch Manchester United absolutely capitulate to us in the final 10 minutes. And she's like, I can't wait to go back for the next game. You have family everywhere around the world if you look for it. And that's what Arsenal has done to me. I mean, I used to have to work very, very hard to make friends, and very, very hard to find something I have in common, and very, very much not wanting to deal with the bullshit of small talk. And
that's surprising to me.
And when you meet somebody from Arsenal, there's no small talk involved. It's just like instant connection, and then you build it from there. And it's just, I mean,
I'm surprised by that, Mike, because my social circle has grown quite significantly because of you, which is strange that you would say that.
That I would say what?
That you're not accustomed to small talk.
Well, Mike doesn't like small talk. He likes to slide right into your DMs.
That's
No, I don't like small talk. I don't like I don't like water cooler talk with, you know, where you know, with somebody that you don't really have that much of a relationship. And my point is, when you meet somebody at an Arsenal pub, or you go to the Tollington and just strike up a conversation with somebody, you have so much in common with that person right off the bat that there is no need for small talk. You have something that's much more important than small talk to talk about. The weather. Who cares about the weather? Who cares about politics, especially with someone that you don't really want to get into an argument about, or take the risk of getting in an argument about. There's one thing that we can bond about, and it's Arsenal Football Club. And you are like 8 steps into an in-depth conversation with somebody that it would have taken a lot of time and effort to get to that point in. And that's what I love about this club. I mean,
this is one of my favorite moments in the whole 27 hours. This conversation we're all having together.
The last hour or two is just like
it's just real. I mean, this is like, you know, someone was just saying, I don't know all of you, but I feel like I know you. And I feel the same way about our listeners, Tammy, you know, Demsek.
Where is Tammy from?
Matty K.
Tammy devotes a large part of her life to brightening your day.
I mean, they're just you know, it's just wonderful. But this conversation right now, the last hour and a bit, like, this is real life. This is it, you know. And it's kind of amazing that football kind of brings people want to rag on football as well, but it's a beautiful thing. That's why they call it the beautiful game, because it brings people together. And as much as we all go at each other, and yeah, there's a portion of the fan base that you're talking about, Mike, they have the right to bitch and moan about Kai Havertz if they want, just as much as we have the right to kind of have a kumbaya if we want. But the beauty is to accept. We have to accept each other. That's a part of life, though. I think one of the things in life too now, the people who disagree, we connect.
Yeah, and I don't.
We lost yourself.
I think we lost Soph.
Yeah, she's muted. No, but
I think what she's hitting on and what's right is, like, no matter what your beliefs are about the club, no matter what your relationship is with Arsenal, whether you're a huge social person, you go out to a bar every single game, whether you never watch a game with anyone, it doesn't matter, because the Arsenal way is that you belong here. All are welcome with the Arsenal. All are welcome with the Arsenal, and that air of inclusivity is exactly why this community is so healing for all of us. Is the driving force that I think that you're talking about, Mike. You know what I mean?
And I want to mention two specific people who I've met in my travels, and these are just two examples of a much larger group of people. But over the past 4 years or so, I've met two people that are just that come to mind right now. The first is Jacob, who most of you know is Poorly Drawn Arsenal. Met him in Orlando along with same time as you did, Aston, last summer, and really learned a lot about him and got to spend some good time with him. And he's not a bro, he's not a pub guy. He's self-admittedly very socially anxious, and found that he had a love for artwork, and that artwork gave him the ability. And I hope I'm not I mean, he's said this, so I don't think I'm speaking out of turn. He's utilized his ability to entertain and build confidence in his artwork, and it's absolutely, I think, hopefully changed his life for the better. And and wonderful fiance. And as I found out in DC, an incredible dad, a hilarious dad, and I loved seeing them together, who's very, very proud of him. But his story is of somebody who, found in Arsenal and in harnessing a talent that he had, has changed his life and made him into a more actualized version of the person that he already was, who can connect with people and receive the love and affection that everybody should have. The second person.
Come in quickly after. Sorry.
Go ahead, Albert.
No, just because you guys have made some great points about you talk about community, and I think for me, from my own personal point of view, is I'm a great believer. I don't use the term friendship very, very loosely, particularly coming from a social media aspect. And I started my channel back in 2020. I actually only started it 2 months after my mum passed away. So it's been a long 3 and a bit years, but yeah, I don't. Community is a very, very important word, and I don't use it very, very lightly. And I've come across some amazing people. Obviously, meeting you guys, whether it be in person or virtually, but I think you learn a lot very quickly in this industry, man. But yeah, one thing I must say is it's not easy to spot real ones and to have that community. And I've met some amazing people, and listen. Don't forget that word community and the people that subscribe, and there's people in the chat that I see in my channel and you guys' channels, and it's you can't buy something like that, man. And when it does come along, bottle it up, trust me. And like someone mentioned in the chat earlier about Super Kev, like to say, tell your loved ones you love them. It's true, man, 100%, man. And you guys are amazing. So you know what I mean. Life is tough, and things happen. And Mike's doing this for very, very good reason, but I've learned a lot in the last 3 years, trust me. Good and bad, good and the bad and the ugly of this industry, trust me. But there's some real people that came through for me when the not so nice side of it and in this industry tried to take a young man down. But I'm still here fighting, so it's all good, man.
Yeah, and again, Jacob, I hope that you took that in the admiring way that it was intended. I mentioned a second person who I doubt he's in the chat, but he's someone who I met a few years ago. What'd you say, troops?
No, hers.
Oh, I thought you said troops.
He just messaged me the other day. What a guy.
Yeah. So a few years ago, 3 or 4 or 5 years ago or so, I was at Gooner, and we were at at Finn McCool's, which is where the crew of Arsenal, the New Orleans Supporters Club, is. And I went into the bathroom there, and in the bathroom, there was a couple urinals lined up in the bathroom. I happened to see some guy, and this is just 3-4 years ago, and he's wearing a yellow and blue Samir Nasri jersey. And after the business was taken care of and the hands were washed and all that, we were walking out of the bathroom, and I said, "That's a big call. Like what's up with Samir Nasri?" It was almost a bit patronizing of me. Like I was almost like why would you wear that? But I mean, I wasn't trying to really pull him up, but I was like, that's a daring one to go with. Like it would be like wearing a Robin Van Persie shirt or something like that. And we started talking about it, and he's like, I forget exactly what his explanation was, but he's like, I really enjoyed him as a player, and I try not to hold things against people when they don't end well. And I started talking to him, and he started telling me a little bit about himself and about how he really, I don't want to say it the wrong way, but I mean, he confided in me that he, had some social anxiety issues, that he really had difficulty making friends. At the time, he was from Madison, Wisconsin. He's since moved to St. Louis, where he's, become really close with Rick Hicks, who we all know and love. His name is Ben Smith, and he has gone from a guy who was kind of familiar with other Madison people who came to Gooner and didn't really know anyone, to a guy who comes there every year to see friends and people who love him and accept him for who he is. And like, he said so many nice things about me, and it's really too complimentary, but I mean, he's such a great guy. And I can see the difference that this supporters club has been. I mean, you could have entered a situation where, I mean, look, I'm the one who said something that could have been kind of mean and unpleasant to him. But imagine imagine the feeling when, we're at an Arsenal pub and some guy in Spurs jersey comes by and everyone starts giving it to them large. And I mean, if that had happened to him because of the whole Nasri thing, that could have been a very, very different experience. But instead, we talked to him, we learned a little bit about him, learned his story, and everyone just flocked around him and said, "You know what? You're part of us. You're one of us." And he never wore the Nasri jersey again, which I appreciated.
Because Mike ripped it off of his back and burned it in front of him. But that's another story.
I mean, it was one of those like wrestling things where I ripped it off and he was naked. But no, I mean, I absolutely love the guy, and he's very active in St. Louis now, and hopefully he feels the same way. But I mean, it's just I think his life wouldn't be the same without the people and the supporters club and the fans and the club itself and their involvement. I'd like to think Jacob's life is better, and there's so many different examples of that, including myself. And it's really just kind of cool. And I just wanted to name check those two because I have a lot of affection for them, and it's just really rewarding to see somebody tell me about their struggles and how Arsenal has helped kind of alleviate or bring them to a level where they're overcome them. And we see, and that story is just reprinted and stamped on so many different people in so many different walks of Arsenal life. So
Aston,
I'm telling you, I could go for another few hours. I'm not going to, but I could.
Tom Canton's going to bed for the second time since you started this.
Now, what I was going to say, to echo what Aston said, beautiful words about the community and belonging and all this other stuff. Like, being an Arsenal fan means something different for many people, right? We all digest Arsenal. They're a different part of our lives to various degrees at some point. And it's important to know that it's also not belonging is belonging, right? If you don't, there's nothing that I would rather do less in my life in LA than go to a pub with a ton of Arsenal fans and watch a game that I want to watch alone in my bedroom with my surround sound and not have to do a line to go pee, right? I just want to, like, the comfort of that is so much more important to me than being with a bunch of people at a pub, which is what I'm supposed to do, right? When I've gone to see Arsenal women play at Wembley, I don't chant. It's not because I don't support her. I don't like the idea of chanting. It's that I hate the sound of my own voice singing, and my throat hurts very, very quickly when I yell. It's like, I don't know if it's a condition, but it's something that hurts. So I'm seen as like a crappy fan or not a true fan for a lot of people. And I've discussed this before. You both heard me talk about it in the Fox and Hounds, how like I was very, very gatekeeping, a very gatekeeper of a person for a long time since I grew up in Venezuela. It's how it's been with the Arsenal. I was like the only Arsenal fan in my group of friends. So it's something very sacred to me, and it's something very personal. And that doesn't make it any more special than for anybody else. And I think that's important for people that don't feel like they know what to do with their fandom. If they're brand new fans, if they've been fans for a long time, just know that this is a lovely club. It's inclusive, not only with Arsenal men, but Gay Gooners is one of the oldest, if not the first, gay LGBTQ association in football, in the footballing world, most likely. And obviously Arsenal women, the best. So if you feel the first, okay. So if you feel that at some point you're out of love with Arsenal men, or you don't like Kai Havertz or blah, 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 I encourage you to look not for another club, just look to their sisters. They're going to give you so much joy and so much hope and so much empathy and so many lovely things. So it's a wide net that our club offers, and it's so inclusive, and it's one of the most inclusive for a reason. So be Arsenal the way you are Arsenal. It's unique, it's you, it's welcomed, and we are here to support it in every which way. Obviously, if you're kind and a nice human being, and if you're a douche, maybe go support another team.
Yeah, look, it's a what's it called? Social Darwinism or whatever. If you're a douche, you're going to end up with no friends. I mean, that's just true. How it works.
That is correct.
Speaking of, let me say this now, because it was said earlier. You need to say you love them. I love you to your loved ones. Well, Arsenal fans, this entire panel, all of you, Sophie, Andy, Mike, Albert, Demian, Jared, all of you guys in the chat, no matter how much you love Kai Havertz, I will still love you.
That's right. Let me do one piece of business right here. I don't want this to be the very last thing we do. I want it to be the second to last thing.
I thought Jared was going to do a sermon for us so he could send us off.
No, for the record, I don't dislike Kai Havertz.
Jared.
And I mean, Andy, you probably need to hear one more than anybody, but I don't think we have time for it.
All right, we're gonna call it on the fundraising, as we are 3 minutes away from 9:00 p.m. Total raised for this podcast $13,187. Last year it was $6,186. My quick maths tells me that double of that would be $6,186, $12,300. We smashed the doubling of last year's funds raised. I'm absolutely thrilled about that. So far this summer in DC, in New York, in LA, in London, and a little bit left over from Chicago, from Gooner Palooza, we have reached a total of $28,487.24 raised, and we haven't even gotten started yet with some of our other campaigns. So I'm just it's unbelievable. That $30,000 mark was not our goal for today. That was our goal for this year. So it's unbelievable. We're going to have to change that goal.
Mike,
we are about
what campaigns are on in the future?
We've got another raffle, the raffle we normally run, which is one where we have about 8 to 10 prizes. You donate, you get entries, and you can allocate those entries amongst the prize you want to enter. Whereas with this one, you're just entering and we're drawing prizes. With that one, it's a more voluntary thing. My hope is to have a couple game tickets, since those are like gold dust these days. More signed books, more jerseys, and all of that, and some experiences. My hope is, so we'll be doing that. I'm still trying to get together another FIFA tournament for those who are still gamers. And we will be giving away. Let me make the announcement here because I've been kind of alluding to it. We have a second jersey from Anfield 89. If you remember 2 years ago, we gave away a shirt that Alan Smith obtained for us with my suggestion and his hard work. It is a yellow 1989 shirt from the Anfield 89 season, the 88-89 season, with Brian Moore's famous, Lukic plays the ball, Lukic to Dixon to Smith. I'm forgetting the name, the whole thing, but it's his famous call of that final rush that ended with Thomas. It's up for grab now. Thomas right at the end, and each of the four of them, John Lukic, Lee Dixon, Alan Smith, and Michael Thomas, have written the part of Brian Moore's commentary that applies to when they had the ball. It is not something that exists anywhere else in the world, with the exception of the one person who won the raffle 2 years ago for the one and other. So it's one of two in the world. And last year we were able to raise $12,500 for that jersey alone, because we said we're just going to keep selling tickets until we raise $12,500. We're going to do that again. And so, I mean, this is the year that we cruise past 50,000 in one campaign. It's all because of the work that you guys have done. It's amazing to me.
Mike, would you say that jersey's up for grabs?
It is up for grabs, but don't just come and try to grab it. We're gonna do that, and that'll probably be in the first quarter of next year. We got to space things out a little bit, because I know that some people have really just put amazing amounts of their hard-earned money, and to ask them to do it again right afterwards is a bit presumptuous. So, so with that in mind, the grand prize today is a first team signed kit from Arsenal Football Club, donated by Arsenal Football Club. And we're going to draw for the winner right now. This is the big one. And let me go ahead and share the screen. Where is it? Random picker. There we go. The winner of the grand prize from the 27-hour Podathon. And by the way, we have just hit 27 hours. It's 9 o'clock. The winner is Chris Carrick, Michael's son, Chris Carrick, who, by the way, of all of the donations that ended up winning prizes tonight, I can see the weight there. Of all the donations, Chris's was not amongst the larger one, but it doesn't matter. This goes to show you that everyone's got a chance to win. Chris Carrick, congratulations, you have won. I mean, I didn't mean to say it like that. I just meant to say it's a fair draw, and it's not just something that you have to donate a ton of money. And everything's appreciated. And Chris Carrick, you've won the kit. Chris, I believe, see if we can tell where he's from. We can't, because I have an older list. But Chris Carrick, congratulations, well done, and you have won the team signed shirt. We'll get that out to you. We'll talk to you about it. I'll reach out to you, and so that's the final prize draw. We've given away something like 27 prizes. It was going to be 25, and then we had additional little giveaways. Given away 27 prizes. We've been podcasting for 27 hours. We've had over 50 amazing guests, and this has been an experience I'll never forget. I really came into this with the smallest amount of sleep I've come into any of these annual shows. I mean, I slept for like 4 to 5 hours a night for the 3 nights leading up to this, and I was really scared because I had so much late stuff going on, and I feel like I could do another 5 hours if we had to. So get Peter Drury back here right now. But we're gonna do this again next year. That is for absolute sure. I want to share something with you guys, and this is the reason that that we do this. Everyone has of course their stories, and none more poignant and current and relevant than what Sophie is dealing with right now, and so many other people. But let's see if I can find this. This is my father as a child. I mean, I'm sure this picture is from like 1949, 1948.
You really look like him, Mike.
Yeah. This is him as a child. And I don't, and I think the next chronological picture I have of him was now. This is why I was invited to join Jewish Gooners. Speaking of fan groups that are special, this is a picture of my dad and my mother, who then and they were already divorced by this point, but they it was an amicable one. My sister, you could say I'm in my awkward phase at that moment in time, but this was when I was 13, so this would have been 1986, and then we skip forward quite a bit to when. Well, actually, we skipped back a little bit to when I was a young kid. This is probably 1979.
Look at that hair.
I mean, this was night. I mean, I'm sure he changed directly out of this into a leisure suit. And Andy, you always talk about my mom.
Yeah.
There she is. He's saying, yeah, that was pervy.
That's how I remember. I'm not sure that there's a day that's gone by in the last 5 years where I haven't said to Mike a "your mom" joke in some.
Yeah, it's all Then my kids were born, and that was probably the thinnest I've been as an adult. But I was coaching my daughter's team, and that's my dad as he got a little bit older. Then there's Jake. That's my dad and my stepfather. And stepmother, sorry. Later on with my daughter, who that's my little 22-year-old Allie right there, after a dance recital. I don't know where this was my dad the day my son was born. That's Jake, by the way, Soph and Andy. That's little Jake right there. And I forget where, I don't know where there's one more picture I wanted to show, and it's the last picture I have of my dad. And maybe it's just more suitable that it's not here. I can't find it, but this is how I like to remember him. But my dad, I didn't have the tightest relationship with him. I don't think he necessarily kind of knew how to be a divorced dad and how to best help me. So he spent a lot of time trying to teach me things, and it wasn't always the most, the easiest way to have in a relationship, especially as I grew older. But, I wanted to do right by him. I wanted to kind of have a relationship with him. And we only really kind of repaired that at the very end. Don't wait until the very end. Don't wait until cancer forces you into getting some closure and stuff. But I'm forever thankful that we had that ability to have closure, and it's instructed the way that I go about being a parent to my kids. And the reason that I'm trying to get myself healthy again is because I don't want to head down a path where I'm not there for him, because these moments are incredible. But that is my dad, who served in the Army, never missed a day of work as a podiatrist after he left the Army for 40 years, and spent time volunteering for every organization you could possibly volunteer for, a hotline, helping people who were feeling very, at risk to themselves, suicide hotlines, every single board of directors you could possibly imagine, every homeowners association you can imagine, volunteer auxiliary police officer, he was a leader and someone who gave generously of himself to others. And I guess, as many things as I learned from my relationship with my dad that I wanted to be different with my kids, I am his son. And I think a lot of the same traits come with me. And I love you. I miss you. It's been almost exactly 13 and a half years. And he's my inspiration for doing this. And I don't want families to ever have to go through what we went through and what Sophie's going through ever again. And with your help, we're going to make it happen. So thank you to the thousands of you who have come in and out during this 27-hour podcast. Thank you to the 138 of you who have stayed to the end. Thank you to the probably 3 to 5 of you, and I look at that as a large number, who were with us the entire 27 plus hours. Thank you to every single guest that's joined me for this, and I hope everyone that's in the chat will remain there as I play a 2-minute video. It's the video we opened this with. I'm going to play the video that we ended it with, because it's just an absolute example of the community that we live in and how amazing it is. But this has been the 3rd annual Gooners versus Cancer Pod-A-Thon for the Gooners versus Cancer Leukemia Lymphoma Society fundraiser. Thank you, and I love you all. Come on, you Gooners.
Hey Gooners, this is Alan Smith.
This is Kevin Campbell.
Lee Dixon.
Colin Lewin.
It's Gary Lewin.
Charles Watts.
Dan Potts. James Benge.
Danny.
Tom from the Gooner Talk here.
Simon Collins, you may know me from the Evening Standard.
You may know me for my time at Arsenal.
You may know me from Arsenal or even the hybrid squad.
From Cat Wonderland.
Being that physio, sat on the bench next to Arsenal with my rubber gloves on.
The former Arsenal physio.
The Emirates press box, from writing, from Twitter.
From goal.com, from Twitter, from YouTube.
Football is the beautiful game and it brings us all together.
Sometimes there are things even more important than wins and losses.
And yes, even transfers.
Every 30 seconds, someone in this world gets diagnosed with blood cancer.
The Leukemia and Lymphoma Society works towards curing blood cancers
and provides support to families currently dealing with these diseases.
Gooners vs Cancer was started in 2017
by a lifelong Gooner who lost his father to leukemia way too young.
Since 2017, Gooners v Cancer has raised
$120,000 for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society.
And we need your help to keep the fundraising going in this year's campaign.
Every donation helps.
Every donation helps.
Every donation helps.
Every donation helps.
No matter the size.
And every donation enters you into the Gooner raffle,
where you have a great chance to win amazing Arsenal prizes,
including game tickets, stadium tours,
signed men and women's shirts,
and maybe a retro signed shirt by yours truly, Lee Dixon.
Me, yours truly.
Yours truly, Super Kev Campbell.
So much more.
It's easy to take part.
Just go to www.goonersvcancer.com
and donate directly to the charity.
Pick the raffle prizes you want to enter to win,
and wait for the drawings at the end of the campaign.
Again, that's www.goonersversuscancer.com.
We all know that victory grows out of harmony.
Victory grows out of harmony.
Victory grows out of harmony.
With your help, we'll be victorious against blood cancer once and for all.
Thank you for your support.
Thank you for your support.
Thank you for your support.
Thanks for your support.
Thanks for your support.
Thank you for your support.